Good morning, all of you. In this lecture, I am going to start a new topic, that is the revision of structure and the functions of brain and other brain system. Okay, in that the nervous system. Okay, uh, the nervous system we studied about the nervous system in the 12th standard and as well as in first year. Okay, so in this lecture I am going to revise. Okay, the nervous system, it is divided into the two system, that is the peripheral nervous system and the central nervous system. Peripheral nervous system means the made up of long axons, and the dendrites. Dendrites, it contain all the parts of the nervous system other than the brain and spinal cord. Okay, whatever the nervous system, all the nervous system is included in the peripheral nervous system, then other than the brain and spinal cord. Because of the brain and spinal cord, it is a part of the central nervous system. Okay, central nervous system जे काही सिस्टीम आहे सेंट्रली, ठीक आहे, ब्रेन आणि स्पायनल कॉर्ड कुठे आहे, आपल्या बॉडीच्या सेंटरमध्ये आहे, ठीक आहे, म्हणून आपण तिला म्हणतो सेंट्रल नर्वस सिस्टीम. त्यामध्ये ब्रेन आणि स्पायनल कॉर्ड इन्व्हॉल्व आहे, ठीक आहे. पेरिफेरल नर्वस सिस्टीम मीन्स जे काही बॉडीच्या पेरिफेरल साईडला आहे त्याला म्हणतो आपण पेरिफेरल बॉडी नर्वस सिस्टीम. इन दॅट द ऑल द long axons and the dendrites are involved in the peripheral nervous system other than the brain and spinal cord. Okay, so the central nervous system consists of the brain and spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system are control the somatic activity and the automatic activity. Means the somatic means the voluntary activity, involuntary activity, and the voluntary activity, it is the activity that controlled by ourself. Okay, controlled by self is called as a voluntary. Means the body movement activity, it's involved in the voluntary. Okay, and the involuntary, it is the activity that not controlled by self. Okay, that is a respiration, means a lungs activity, then the heart activity, that is a heartbeat. Okay, that are not controlled by self, is called as an involuntary activity. So next is a brain. Okay, brain are divided into the three parts, that is a forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Forebrain, it is the situated in front of the brain structure, means near about the face. Okay, superiorly of face. Then is a midbrain is situated in the middle. Okay, middle cortex. Okay, next is a hindbrain. It is the behind the cortex, means behind the face. Okay, it's called as a hindbrain. Okay, forebrain, it involves the thalamus, hypothalamus, limbic system, and the cerebral cortex. These all are involved in the forebrain. Then the midbrain involve cerebrum. Okay, involve cerebrum. Next is the hindbrain involve the medulla oblongata, and then pons, and the cerebellum. Okay, these all are the parts of the brain. So in this diagram, the forebrain involve the hypothalamus. Okay, pituitary gland. Okay, in that the hypothalamus work is responsible for the regulating the basic biological needs, that is the hunger, thirst, temperature control. Okay, these are the basic things, basic needs of our body that are controlled by the hypothalamus. Next is the pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is the master gland that are regulate all other endocrine gland. It is the ductless gland. Okay, whatever the ductless gland, they all ductless gland involved in the endocrine gland. Okay, they called endocrine gland. So next is the spinal cord. Spinal cord is responsible for the communication between the brain and the rest of the body, involved with the simple रिफ्लेक्सेस. ओके, जे वर्क आहे त्याचं स्पायनल कॉर्डचं काय आहे, जे काही कम्युनिकेशन आहे ब्रेन आणि बॉडीमध्ये ते कंटिन्यू करते, ठीक आहे, आणि सिम्पल रिफ्लेक्ससाठी पण वर्क करते, ठीक आहे. नेक्स्ट इज अ सेरेब्रल कॉर्टेक्स. ओके, विच आर सिच्युएटेड इन द दिस साइड. ओके, सेरेब्रल कॉर्टेक्स, that is in that. Next is a Carpus callosum. Carpus callosum, it is a bridge of the fiber passing information between the two cerebral hemisphere. ओके, जे काही इन्फॉर्मेशन आहे ते दोन्ही हिमोस्फेअर आहे त्यामध्ये ट्रान्सफर करणे, ठीक आहे, हे त्याचं वर्क आहे. नेक्स्ट इज द थॅलॅमस. थॅलॅमस, इट इज द रिले सेंटर फॉर द कॉर्टेक्स. रिले सेंटर फॉर द कॉर्टेक्स, cerebral cortex. Okay, handles incoming and the outgoing signals. Handle all the incoming and outgoing signal. Okay, whatever the motors and sensory activity, okay, they all are controlled by the thalamus. Next is the cerebellum. Okay, cerebellum. The cerebellum helps to the maintain our body structure. Okay, all the movement structure. Okay. Next is the pons. Pons involved in the sleep and arousal. Arousal. These all are the work of the pons. Okay. Next is the reticular formation. Reticular formation, in that a network of the nervous related to sleep, arousal and attention. These all are the work of the reticular formation. Next is the medulla. Medulla, responsible for the regulating largely unconscious functions such as the breathing and circulation. Okay, these all are the controlled by the medulla. Okay, medulla oblongata. So these all are the parts of our body that having a different work, so that they are controlled itself. Okay, next is in cerebrum, in that there are the 4 lobes. Okay, frontal lobe, then okay, there are four lobe. Okay, these all are the frontal lobe. This is a temporal lobe. Okay, frontal lobe situated in frontally. Okay, frontally. ओके, जे काही समोर आहे माथ्याजवळ आहे ते असते फ्रंटल लोब. ओके, जे काही कानाजवळ असते ते काय म्हणतात टेम्पोरल लोब. ओके, टेम्पोरल लोब, दिस इज अ नियर अबाउट द टेम्पोरल बोन. ओके, देन द parietal lobe, this is bit near about the parietal bone. Okay, and the occipital lobe, this is behind the or near the occipital bone. Okay, in the frontal lobe, the frontal lobe are responsible for the planning, complex movement and the thinking. All the thinking, complex movement and the planning are controlled by the frontal lobe. Okay, next is the in the temporal lobe, the speech production, auditory and the language understanding, intelligence. Okay, these all are the work of the temporal lobe. Okay, temporal lobe. Next is the behavior, emotions, motivation. These all are the controlled by the temporal lobe and the frontal lobe also. Okay, next is a parietal lobe. Parietal lobe, it is control all the activity related to the motor. Okay, this is somatosensory activity are controlled by the parietal lobe. Okay, parietal lobe. And next, last lobe is a occipital lobe. In that the spatial awareness of body and the surrounding. Okay, whatever the environmental awareness are controlled by the occipital lobe. Okay, next is the visual processing of world. And the vision control and the naming of object. These all are the work of occipital lobe. Okay, occipital lobe, localization of mental function in the brain. Okay, these all are the controlled by the brain. Okay, next is the structure of the neuron. This is the neuron, in that the dendrites. Okay, जे काही इथे तुम्ही असं विखरलेले जे काही पार्ट्स पाहता त्याला म्हणतात डेंड्राइट्स म्हणतात. ठीक आहे, जे काही इथं बॉडी आहे, ठीक आहे, जे काही मधामध्ये हे काही न्यूक्लियस आहे, ठीक आहे, न्यूक्लियसजवळ जे काही स्ट्रक्चर आहे त्याला आपण म्हणतात सेल बॉडी. ओके, देन ओके मीन्स दिस इज the bluest part of the neuron is called as the axon, and this is the sheet of axon is called as a myelin sheet. Okay, next is this is the direction of the impulse. Okay, direction of the impulse, movement of electronic impulse, direction of the electronic impulse. Okay, and this is the terminal buttons. Okay, this is the terminal button is connected to the other neuron. Okay, in this lecture we discuss about the revision of nervous system structure. In that the nervous system, types of the nervous system, brain and brains part of the brain, then the diagram of the brain division, then the major structure of the in the brain and the localization of mental function in the brain. Okay, these all are the studied in this lecture. So thank you.